Hi friends, welcome to the channel Civil Vision Tunia ourselves. Let's start discussing about theories of failure in strength of materials part 5. First focus the two important keywords which are going to define this topic. The keywords are theories and failure. Let's go with failure. Failure doesn't have any clear definition. Depends upon the usage and depends upon the application when you consider something to be failed. Let us consider a component subjected to a stress like this, which exceeds its permissible limit or yield point or under the effect of some stress. It has permanent deformation, means doesn't gain its original shape. You may consider it as failure. Failure are broadly categorized as deflection and strength. These are the factors which decides the failure. In the previous video, we saw about what is deflection, what are the theories involved in it. Now, go with strength. Strength is nothing but the maximum stress in the material before getting failure. Strength is broadly subcategorized into yielding and fracture. Yielding is the condition occurs in ductile material, whereas the fracture is the condition occur in brittle material. Fracture doesn't undergo any significant plastic deformation. Very soon fracture will occur. Whereas yielding is denoted as sigma y. Fracture is denoted as sigma u. These are the two relevant criteria of failure. Next one, theories. Combination of different opinion, different reason on why some component failed. Stress is the responsible factor for the failure. The material is said to be or predicted to be failed due to stress or any other reason. Some of the theories suggest that it failed because of strain crosses its particular limit, or some can say that energy stored in the material crossed certain limit and it failed. Different researchers have given different theories on failure, why something failed, depending on their experimental proved theories we have. Those are the theories which have to study in this unit. Which theory is suitable for what case, and you will have to see one by one. This is what we are going to study in this unit, theories of failure. Let's start. Consider the rectangular specimen subjected to uniaxial tensile stress. All we know about the uniaxial tensile test that we have done in our laboratory using UTM machine. By practically we found the values of yield point and ultimate point and finally represent in a graphical format. That's what called stress strain curve of Milstein. But for complex stress case, you can't apply the uniaxial tensile test values. Then how will you predict the failure of such component where complex type of stress are acting? That is where the theories of failures are used. Almost every loading that you seen in practical life is a case of complex stress. You can't do tests for every type of loading. So what to do? That's why we use the theories of failure. What theories of failure do? They take out the additional parameters in the uniaxial tensile test, and from that parameter it predicts the failure of complex stress cases. Let's see. Let us consider a rectangular specimen and tensile stress are applied along a single axis like this. Along y-axis there is no stress. If I draw a Mohr circle for that, then along the one axis will be sigma stress and no stress for other side. And there is no shear stress. Therefore, coordinate of stress is 0, 0 and stress will be sigma 1 on the another side. As we will increasing the value of sigma from 0, what will happen? The circle here will be smaller in size, keep on increasing, whereas sigma increases. The maximum tensile stress in this case is the principal stress. So its sigma which is equal to sigma 1 for uniaxial tensile case. Just compare with stress strain curve of uniaxial tension test. A point will come where the principal stress reaches the failure point, after it will fail. The maximum allowed value of principal stress or permissible limit of that stress it will reach. That's what the maximum principal stress theory. Let's see the maximum principal stress theory. Failure is predicted where the principal stress equals or exceeds the yield strength of the material. Therefore, it is suitable only for a brittle material. This theory is also called as a Rankine's theory. The shape of the failure is square. But other than stress, as I have told you, there are different other parameters also which will reach their maximum limit. Not only the tensile stress but also shear stress can reach their maximum limit. Then you can say that the failure happened. Let's see in Mohs circle diagram. Maximum shear stress in this diagram is nothing but the radius of the Mohs circle. So as the circle will keep on increasing means that as you keep on applying the load, as you keep on increasing the sigma 1, and the circle size will keep on increasing the tau. And a point will come when it will fail. So you can say that when shear stress reached the maximum allowed shear stress, then failure occurred. Additional parameter we have considered here is shear stress. That's what called maximum shear stress theory. Let's see. Failure is predicted when any of the shear stress corresponding to principal stresses equal or exceeds the shear stress corresponding to yield strength of that material in uniaxial tension or compression. It is suitable for ductile material. The formula for maximum shear stress theory equal to sigma max minus sigma minimum by 2. The shape of the failure is rectangle. Next one, maximum principal strain theory. We are not restricting the failure only to the stress. We are also linking the failure with strain. What we are saying that when maximum strain reached the allowed strain, then failure occurs. That's what called maximum principal strain theory. Failure is predicted when either of the principal strains resulting from the principal stress equals or exceeds the maximum strain corresponding to the yield strength of the material in uniaxial tension or compression. This is a simple formula for maximum principal strain theory. Sigma 1 minus mu times the sigma 2 plus sigma 3 less than sigma yield point. The shape of the failure is rhombus. It is suitable for ductile material. It is also known as a Saint-Venant's theory. Next one, total strain energy theory. It is also called as a Beltrami-Hague theory. Just compare this theory with stress strain curve diagram of mild steel. As we keep on increasing the value of stress, you look at stress strain curve diagram. When the value of strain energy reached the maximum allowed strain energy, then it can observe. When it crosses the particular limit, then it will failed. That's what called total strain energy. Therefore, the failure is predicted when the total strain energy associated with principal stresses equals or exceeds the total strain energy corresponding to that for the yield strength of the material in uniaxial tension or compression. This is a simple formula of strain energy theory. Sigma 1 square plus sigma 2 square plus sigma 3 square minus 2 times the Poisson's ratio into sigma 1 sigma 2 plus sigma 2 sigma 3 plus sigma 1 sigma 3 should be less than yield strength the whole square. The shape of the failure is ellipse. It is suitable for ductile material. Next one, maximum distortional energy theory or maximum shear strain energy theory. It is also called as a von Mises and Henke's theory. Failure is predicted when the distortional energy associated with principal stresses equals or exceeds the distortional energy corresponding to that of yield strength of the material in uniaxial tension or compression. This is a formula for maximum distortional theory. Shape of the failure is ellipse. It is more suitable for ductile material. Finally, I conclude that theories of failures are used for complex stresses when uniaxial tensile stresses are not directly applicable. I hope this video will be very useful for you. Kindly share this video with your friends. Thank you.